Why have you always been interested in the performing arts?
Honestly, Eva, I would love to say the muses called me as a child and all of that, but that would be complete nonsense. The reality is far less impressive. I actually got into theater because when I got out of I did some theater in high school, but when I got out of the Air Force, I was trying to get a date with this woman who was teaching an acting class, and she said if I took her acting class, she'd go out with me. And that's, I kind of fell into this and found it's much easier to get into than out of, you know. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I've always been, I think, drawn to it. It may even go back all the way back to being an altar boy when I was a kid. You know, I mean that sense of performance. So, you know, I've been an artistic director of 3 or 4 different professional theaters since I was 24 years old.
So, how long have you been the COPA artistic director here at Point Park?
I actually founded COPA, and I came out, I was running a place called California Repertory Company in Los Angeles. That was a theater company and connected with Cal State Long Beach, and I came out here in 1995. No, 1998. The summer of 1998 is when I started, and we became the Conservatory of Performing Arts on January 1st, 1999. It's the same year we founded the rep company, the professional company at the Playhouse, and so almost 18 years.
How do you feel that the new Playhouse will mainly differ from the new one? Sorry, I read that wrong.
From the old one?
From the old one, yeah.
Well, in many ways, it has a little bit of a different mission. Right now, the Playhouse in Oakland is primarily an asset for the conservatory. It pretty much just services theater and dance. The mission of this new Playhouse is to become a national artistic laboratory. The mission of that new Playhouse is to be to the arts nationally what the Robotics Institute is to the scientific community nationally, and to be a university asset, so that it's an asset to many more students than just the conservatory. So if you look at what it means to be a national artistic laboratory, this is similar to what we do in COPA. You're bringing in professionals to work in this place as well as students. You're combining students and professional in that kind of hands-on co-op educational real-world experiences. Now, how this becomes an asset to the rest of the university, imagine we're starting something called the Center for Entertainment Management. So imagine students in SAEM, from marketing students, PR students, accounting students. You've got a professional company and 3 performing companies. Imagine accounting students doing reconciliation on professional shows as well as amateur shows. Imagine the marketing students marketing the Playhouse shows. Imagine the PR students doing the PR for the Playhouse. So it's, you know, in the same way that the stage is a place for the performers to hone their craft, the business side of this is a place where the business students can have practical experience. With communications, we're working a lot. There's many things we're starting with through Andy with the CMI Center and all of that. We can have red carpet events in the evening. We're having a speaker series. We've got the ability to start in the new cafe up there. There's plans, a student-run comedy club in there. You know, it's a laboratory for both artistic and entrepreneurial endeavors. I think it's going to be really just left to our imagination. I see this as a completely blank artistic canvas that professionals, professional artist educators, professional business people, professional communication students, and performers. I mean, who knows? You know, imagine that new facility has 3 high-tech theaters, a completely outfitted sound stage. That sound stage will have the ability to not only produce our student films, but you know, when the professional movies come in, you can have students working on professional films and using that sound studio to do it. It'll be that well equipped.
And the date for that is in the fall of 2018, correct?
Yeah,
I know it's been fluctuating.
Tentatively, we're supposed to move in there next summer and in the summer of 18 and produce our first production in the fall of 18. and it seems to be pretty much on schedule. In fact, the build might even be a little bit ahead of schedule. We've caught some breaks that this winter hasn't been too severe. You know, we've had days in the 70s in February, so it really hasn't thrown off the build schedule.
Well, that's good. I'm sure it would have. I mean, if we've had a lot of snow, then that would have definitely thrown off the whole process.
And plus, you never know what you're going to find when you start building in downtown Pittsburgh. So
Exactly. What is your favorite addition that the new Pittsburgh Playhouse will have?
My favorite addition is our schedule is not going to be. It gives us the flexibility to develop a schedule that's not based on limitations, and by that, like right now, we don't have an orchestra pit. So to do a musical at the Playhouse, oftentimes you're taking up 2 theaters. You have to put the orchestra in the Rao Theater, pipe the music into the Rockwell Theater. We have to build our sets on the stage. So you put all this work in. We just closed Sweet Charity. Michael Rupert, Broadway director, Tony Award winning for Sweet Charity, comes in to direct our students in Sweet Charity. Terrific production. We run it 2 weekends after 6 weeks of rehearsal because we need that stage to then build. So long-windedly, the most exciting thing to me is how we're going to be able to increase the technical programs, increase the numbers of students, and the area. We'll no longer have to be building on the stages. Our schedule won't be dictated based on the lack of space. It'll be dictated based on the ability and the amount of space that we have. Dedicated prop shops, dedicated paint shops, dedicated scene shops, dedicated lighting laboratories. Whereas now we basically have a big space out there that has to serve several functions. None of them were designed for that function. And this new Playhouse, everything about it has been designed for function. The one thing that the president has done is this hasn't been designed by the president or by a board of trustees. This has been designed by the artists, the users. As we go through this design, our architects have talked to everybody from master carpenters, master electricians, our technical directors, our designs, our faculty. The people who actually use the facility are the primary designers of it. So I think that's really exciting. You combine that with the old Playhouse. The Rockwell Theater used to be a synagogue. That's what it was designed to be. The Rao Theater was a German beer hall. These are things that we have been morphed into theaters rather than specifically designed for theaters.
But now, there'll be so much more usage out of it, seeing that it's completely designed from people who are using it, like you said.
Exactly. Our architect once said to me, this will become the intellectual and social loitering space of the university. I love that. I just see this as a canvas where business students interacting with film students, who knows what they're going to create. The world of the arts are changed. Everything is intermixed now. Everything. I think your major is really a wise major right now because everything's been blended. Even in our cinema department, we were the first ones in the country that started a digital film program.
Wow.
And I started that, and not because I realized 2 things. The internet has broken down distribution barriers, and digital film broke down production barriers. When I first got here, when they were doing filmmakers, it was $1,000 for 60 seconds of 16 millimeter film produced. So you had some students who had rich parents who could dump 50 grand into a student film, and others that are running up credit cards. Digital film, for cost-wise, it leveled the playing field for people's ability. Now, you can make a decent movie on your phone, and the internet can get that movie out there. So
exactly.
Nobody would have predicted that 20 years ago. Who knows what this Playhouse, like I said, that's what I mean when I say it's a big canvas to see what can be produced by professional artists, student artists, coming together and having a place to work.
Yeah. What do you hope to see gets accomplished in the new Playhouse?
I really want this Center for Entertainment Management to be successful because I think that's a key to making the Playhouse a university-wide asset. I really want to see, I think we can really expand in the expertise and numbers of our technical areas because there's so many jobs out there in technical areas right now. The sound stage, to give our cinema students the opportunity to shoot most of our stuff is on location right now because we don't have a sound stage. But I think what I'm looking forward to the most is just, again, that facility being an intersection for all kinds of majors to create.
Okay. And lastly, with the new location, how do you think that will benefit the school and the public at the same time?
You know, 6-7 years ago, somebody in one of the reporters in the newspaper, might have been a reviewer, they were talking about Point Park, and I read this quote that they said, the heart of Point Park University is in downtown Pittsburgh, but its soul is in Oakland, you know, with the Playhouse. I think it's kind of a combining of that. I think this has the ability to, it'll be the centerpiece of the university. And this whole idea of an academic village, very Georgetown-like, if you will, you know, a complete downtown urban education, you know, where it's much more European. There's very few places in America that are like this. I mean, think about the fact that for a relatively small city, you've got 3 professional sports franchises, you've got a first-class symphony, a first-class theater district, a cultural trust, you know, you've got, Pittsburgh has now morphed itself into basically education, sports, and arts. That's what, I mean, medicine, education, that's what Pittsburgh is. So much, you know, as opposed to the days of steel mills and all that stuff. And I think it'll be a really interesting dynamic when the Playhouse is downtown. And the fact that, you know, this current Playhouse was built in 1939 and it's held together with duct tape and determination, believe me. So, you know, that's going to be exciting.
All right, well, thank you. If I have any follow-up questions that I end up...
Shoot me an email.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you for your time.
Nice to meet you, Eva.
Yes, you as well. Peter, I'll see you around.
Take care.
Have a good one.
You too.